back to Choose Your Own Path. We're back in the shop. What the hell? Why not, eh? So, I just want to start off this video, something that's on my mind that's been bothering me. About a week ago, well, let's go back. When I was a little boy, I used to hang around with this guy. We were like best friends. I stayed at his place all the time. And then when we grew up, kind of in our teens, I moved away and I haven't heard from him. And then just recently, he contacted me through Facebook and he says, hey, let's go for coffee. And like, we're a lot older now, obviously. Yeah, so I hooked up with an old school friend. You know, it was great. Made a cutting board for him and a walking stick and all that. So it was really, really good to get back in touch with him. Now, here's a shitty thing. My friend is a police officer out here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. He's a cop. And that's not the shitty thing. He likes his motorcycles, and he drives a motorcycle, which is, you know, perfectly cool. It's the way it is. Everybody loves, you know, kind of transportation. He was going to work, actually, to do his job, his serve and protect. And this was about a week and a half ago. And it turned out that he got hit by a drunk driver. He was on his motorcycle, and there's I guess a semi was, the way the story is the semi was coming towards him. He was in his lane, and the drunk driver pulled out and hit him head on. He's in really bad shape. It's on the news in our Winnipeg Free Press. I don't want to give out his name because I never asked permission for that, but he was a really good friend of mine, and he still is a good friend of mine. Just like broke some pretty bad bones, and it's going to be a big, long recovery for him. And I'll be there for him if he wants. You know, definitely whatever he needs, I'll help him out. You know, just wanted to get that off my mind because that's been bothering me for a bit here and stuff like that. But in the meantime, we are going to do something. We are going to carve a fish for him. So this is just going to be a fish head that's going to be like one of those key holders that I've made. They're way back there. I'll show a picture of it later. Anyway, I'm going to show you a little bit of the process. So I went and actually pulled it out to the back. This is sort of what I made a video of. No, this is what I made a video of last time. It is a key holder. Put your keys on here and hook it into your cabin or cottage. I had a giveaway, and I think I picked three winners at the one time about it. Two of them received it, and one of them didn't. So I don't know what was going on with that one. But anyway, it was a lot of bullshit, and yeah, whatever. Long story short, these people are weird. So a little dusty, but that's what we're gonna do. Is we're gonna make one for him, and it's gonna be more of a jack, I'm thinking. So very simple. It's just half body, fins, and and then obviously fins, and we're gonna use some eyes that we made instead of just doing the normal way. So all I did was I took two pieces of the cedar that we use all the time to carve. I glued them together. I have a pattern of what I'm looking to do. I made it a bit bigger, not very much, but a bit bigger, a little bit bigger, maybe the mouth, that. And then we just started to take our cut saw and, pulling out those, well, the side gills and whatever the hell that thing's called. I gotta get more knowledgeable about this shit, eh? And then what I'll do is I'll turn to this kind of an eye, this kind of a bit. I use these for eyes. Now, I'll show you with this guy. Like I said, it's dusty. I used him to round the eye out. But we're not wanting to round it or wanting to pull a chunk out so we can insert it. But what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to push this in. I'm going to round it out so that I know that the eye will fit properly. So then I can get a proper bit and get in there. So that's what I'm going to do. Very, very simple. Took it out to, we have the rigid, see the orange, where are you? Right there. The orange machine right there. That's the rigid spindle sander. And that thing is, let me tell you, if I had an affiliate for that, I'd send it to you guys, because that thing is like, I do a lot of carving with it. Basically, you know, we turn it out on the bandsaw with the shape, and then rounding off, the thing works like a charm. After using the Kutzall, of course, it's very rough. So they're gonna have to try. We're gonna figure out some other. We have a Kutzall rasp here, or file, and that really takes off a lot of meat. You can see, and that'll help us shape and clean up a lot of the stuff too, I guess. I think that's fair enough to say we could use that in some sandpaper too, I guess. So yeah, what I did was I took the Kutzall, and I don't know if you could see in here, but it's really chunky still. And I'll just unplug it for a sec. We could just do this together kind of thing. All I want to do is get, oops, turn it on. Is get it almost level, but still rounding it out. Now this is my method of doing fish, where I want to keep it round still, and I don't want to go too deep, because I think in my other fish projects that I've been doing, yeah, I think I've been off base. I mean, again, guys, this is all for fun. This is you and me doing this, you watching, going, hey, that's what, something different, right? It's just for fun. We're not selling huge amounts. We're not professionals. We don't play by the book. We don't use traditional, you know, wood burning things like shit. We're using a punch that I kind of push together for scales. Do what you got to do. If it looks good and you think it looks good and it feels good, use it. This is for you. This is, I mean, unless we were into, and I'm not knocking anybody, if you're into competitions, if you're into like selling high-end woodcrafts, and I mean high-end, where this would have to look like a real fish. You know, not even from a distance. You'd have to be really close and say, hey, that looks like a real fish. Then if you got the skills and you got the, you know, the tooling for it, use it, do it. Because I know there's a couple of guys out there, their fish come out superb. They take their time. They're doing. I take my time, but this is just more for fun. This is just for me. And you know what? Honestly, I give away a lot of stuff. I can't ask to sell it because I don't get the price that I think it's worth. So now I just give it away, and then maybe one day, you know, Karma might hit me in the ass and say, hey, let's do something like that. You know, we'll see. Anyway, working on it. Yeah, I'm bumbling you for nothing. So just kind of rounding it off, not taking off too much, just enough at a time, just you know, just small amounts. So, because here you can see that I was coming from this end, cutting inwards, cutting downwards, and I slipped. So I got deep here. So I got to sort of level that out like that. And if you're making this deep, you don't want to leave his gill out too, unless you want his gills flaring. But I don't like going underneath. You know, one day if I get a proper tool, you know, maybe to round and get all the way through, this would be good, because then you'd have a hollow mouth. I think that'd be cool. But just for now, even inside the mouth, I get with, again, same tool, because I don't really have anything that's thicker. Like, you know what I mean? I can't use one of these guys to get in there. It just won't fit. And that would be something you get in. If it was, his mouth was wider, I can get in there and I could just dig out the insides. I don't have that kind of tool here. I do have something similar, but I like to stick with Kutzall. They do really well. Again, Sabertooth also, I have their tools here. In fact, I think that was a Sabertooth. Orange and green is Sabertooth, and the other ones are Kutzall. So, like, I think more the black ones. I get them mixed up all the time, but you know what? Still, in fact, you know what? Use the link below if you want to see like the tools that we do use in our hobby. There's a promo code, RVWOODCRAFT in capital. I'll leave that in the link below. It saves you 5%. It helps me out, gives me a little kickback. Always get more tools and then create more stuff for you guys. So I'm going to keep on working on this because, like I said, I just explained to you what I'm going to do. And then we'll go through a sanding process. The eyes, or should I say we'll do the eyes, we'll do a sanding process. This time we're not going to put the eyes in first. We're going to paint it, then put the eyes in. We'll see. I always do that. Anyway, I'll be right back. Next day, we're back. So, what I did was I sanded it down. All right. And this is the scaling punch that I'm using, which I took, this is like a leather punch, and I kind of squeezed them together to make more of an oval than a round. And you can see that that's how I do the scaling. And it's very simple. I usually just keep the sharp side right here to my finger. And then it goes so fast to do this because, well, obviously I'd be doing it on my lap, but it's just the tapping method. So bringing them in close enough to each other. You don't want to overlap them because you don't want to look them, you know, make them look funny. And that's what we got. So now, I said I wasn't going to put the eyes in, but I did. And then I put a little bit of putty around it. I'm just going to wood fill these in, the holes, to make them like around its eye. And then next step is to prime and paint, and then put it on a board of sort with some key hooks like that. A little dusty. So again, part one is here. Very simple. Shape out your fish, give it the look you want. You know, sand it down, figure out what we're going to do for teeth. You might put just a hook in there so you don't have to make teeth. It's pretty hard to get anything in there. Little pieces of toothpicks you could use. You can use almost anything. But then again, like I said, this is the way I do my scaling, is just with a leather punch. And then I shape that kind of ovally, and then it gives you that scale look. So when this is done pushing the scales in, I'll just take a light sandpaper, probably like 180 grit, give it a little, take all the little brushes off it. What I usually do is take the torch and give it a light burn. That just gets inside the grooves. Try not to get to the eyes because I'll melt them. And then, yeah, so we'll put on some primer, and then we'll figure out what kind of paints we want to use. You know, fish are usually green, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so let's part this at one, and then stay tuned for part two, which will be the paint. Yeah, so if I can do it, you can do it. Choose your own path. See you on the next one.